Rev up your engine! Today I have an interesting problem. Tundra, it's only got 58,000 miles, but it isn't running right. The check engine light is on. Now that's rare for a Tundra with that low mileage. But you can't blame Toyota. This vehicle was attacked by mice. They ate up the wiring harness. Now, a used wiring harness was procured and put on it. It still isn't running right, and it has a misfire for cylinder number 2. The check engine light is on, and the code is PL302, cylinder number 2, misfire. This Toyota V8 engine, cylinder number 2, is the front cylinder right here. This is cylinder number 2. Now I swapped the ignition coil on number 2 with the ignition coil on the other side and put the other side on number 2. It's still misfired, and I looked at the spark plug. So it's not an ignition problem. Odds are it's a fuel injection problem. And here's where my new tool, Advanced Circuit Tester, comes into being. Lots of tools I can use, freeze frame, oscilloscopes, you name it. But in this case, this is one of the simplest tools I can use. You hook it up. I have to hook up the battery charger because my grandson brought me this car with a dead battery, of course. Now, as you can see, as soon as you plug it in, check it out. Look at this thing. It can do all kinds of things. It's a voltmeter, all kinds of things. But this is the most interesting thing that it has. As you can see there, it says Injector. What this does is it will give us a graph of what the injectors are doing. Swapping injectors is a dirty pain in the butt. You're going to get gas everywhere. You're going to have to buy a set of new seals, right? Rather than putting number 2 injector on another and switching them, I'm going to test them with this because I have a theory. The mice ate the wiring to the fuel injector. So now there's a used wiring harness for the injectors put on. It was fine. There was nothing wrong with that, right? But number 2 isn't firing right. So I really think in this case it's got a bad main computer. Now that's extremely rare to have a bad ECM on any Toyota product, but if the mice bit through the wiring, the car was started, if it shorted, it could short the driver for the fuel injectors. Now thank goodness this only has it for cylinder number 2, not the rest. So let's hope it only damaged 1. We will connect this using a little connector to see what the fuel injectors are supposed to look like on a good fuel injection. What I love about this tool is the simplicity of it. All we have to do is connect the tool to the negative feeding the fuel injector. Look up the negative battery terminal because that's a really good ground. Then we go back in, start her up. Hopefully the battery charger is charged enough now so it'll start up. Good. Well, you learn something every day. Do not buy this thing. It's a rolling pile of crap. Good thing I tested it out, not you. It's not cheap. It's like 150 bucks, but it wouldn't even give me the data. It wouldn't even give me the milliseconds, and it didn't do the graphing at all. It's a rolling pile of Chinese crap. I did think it was kind of odd that it was going to do all that stuff and many other things. Check relays, all this stuff. Just more Chinese horse manure, saying they make machines that do stuff that they don't do. So, to my fancy scan tool. Okay, this one rarely lets me down. Try to save you money if you want to fix your own car, but that Ansel tool is a piece of crap. Get it ready. Tundra 2018. Bother with scanning, I already did that. So what I want to look at is live data here. So we'll start her up. Go to live data. For data on the fuel injection system here. And you can see indeed cylinder number 2 is misfiring. There it is, it's misfiring. The cylinder misfire cut off. None of them are cutting off except cylinder number 2. It is cutting fuel off for misfiring. Only cylinder number 2, not the others. Now there's many reasons you can have the computer shutting the fuel injector off. If the engine's warm, that's one, and that's a simple thing to test. So I did a compression test on number 2, and that's 105 pounds. That's awful low. Let's do one on number 3. Very easy to do. You just take out the spark plug. We're going to do it on the cylinder next to it. We already found out that number 2 was only 105 pounds. They got long spark plugs in these things. Out it comes, looks okay. Then we screw in the spark plug hole, which is always fun. You just gotta grab itself. It can be a pain sometimes. Well, it went in pretty good. Gauge to it, just snaps right in. There, you have to wait till it clicks, because if it doesn't click, it's not sealed. We cranked it exactly the same. It's a short crank. Again, we have about 105 pounds. That's low for one of these. But they are relative compression after all. Problem is, it's relative compression. These gauges aren't all that accurate. So they're both the same. So it can't just be a compression thing that's making it misfire, because then the other cylinder would misfire too, and it's not. Now, people have told me they swapped coils. Other people said they didn't, so I'm swapping the number 1 coil with the coil on the other side of the engine and pray it's just an ignition coil, because the spark plugs look fine. Now, since the trouble code is on, we're going to erase the codes. We will just push erase codes. Erase codes, it's erasing them. Erase it successfully. Now we'll start her up. Still got fuel cut. It's cutting out something it's on, so let's see something. You can now see that it has misfires on cylinder number 1. Before it was on number 2. I moved the number 2 coil to the number 1. Now it's the code for PO351. And that is often an ignition control problem caused by a bad coil. Well, I moved the number 2 coil to the number 1 and the 1 to 2, so the coil's bad. Moved to number 1, so obviously the coil's bad. So I threw a new ignition coil in on number 1 cylinder, because I moved the bad one over there to fix the problem. So what's the moral of the story? Don't believe what anybody tells you. One person told me, oh, we swapped the coils. One person said, we did testing. You can't believe anything unless you test it yourself and find out what's wrong. And the easiest thing in doing it is swapping parts. And if you swap them around, you know, if it moves, that's the problem. So when you're working on a car, if it's all possible to switch an identical part with another one and it's easy to get to, start there, erase the codes like I did, then drive it and see what happens. And if you see, hey, number 1 was misfiring, or in this case, number 2 was misfiring, put 2 on 1 and 1 on 2. The miss moves to the other cylinder, you know, that part was what was causing it. Very simple. Now, there are things that are very hard to get to. Some cars, it's not easy to get to them. And let's say it was a fuel injector. Some fuel injectors, especially modern cars with GDI fuel injection, some of them you got to tear half the engine apart to get to. So it's not that easy to do that. But for many cars, and this is a 2018, it isn't that old, you can switch one part for another. The problem goes away. You know, that's the bad part. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Well, Norway, which has been the poster child for electric cars, is now having second thoughts. Now, as you can see in this picture, there's a guy charging his Tesla in Norway. You notice all the other ones are totally empty. There's no one using them. They're finding out that, indeed, it is not the savior. To begin with, motor vehicles only create 1/10 of all global CO2 emissions. 1/10, right? Most of it's industry and stuff. The best you can do is 1/10, and you're only going to save a small percentage of that because of how the electricity is generated for electric cars and yada yada. Now, I mean, up there, those countries like Iceland too, you know, they get geothermal power and things from thermal activity that's under them, so they get free steam energy, so they can actually generate electricity almost free. Unique situation to get cheap electricity to begin with, but even they're saying, hey, these electric cars, maybe they're not going to save anything. Now, 87% of Norway's new car sales is electric. People are buying. As this guy who went to Norway says, Norwegian EV bonanza has reduced emissions, but at the expense of compromising vital societal goals. Eye-popping EV subsidies have flowed largely to the affluent, contributing to the gap between the rich and poor in a country that's proud of its egalitarian social policies. Worse, the EV boom has hobbled Norwegian cities' efforts to untether themselves from the automobile and enable residents to instead travel by transit or bicycles. Norway's a tiny place to begin with, right? And like I said, they have kind of a unique place where they can get electricity from, too. But they're finding out that, gee, electric cars, they're really not the big savior. You know, one, if they're only 1/10 of the pollution, and then they're only saving a small percentage of that, all the trillions that would be spent building these things and swapping it over, making more generating power stations, la 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 la, right? It isn't saving hardly anything. It's just another fantasy idea, like something Elon Musk would come up with, and we're all going to have robots reading to us at night or something that he's trying to sell robots now, or we're all going to have solar panels on our roofs, and our roofs are all going to collapse, right? They never think of the ramifications of what they're doing. And now the Norwegians are thinking, gee, maybe this electric thing, maybe it isn't the great savior that we were all told it was, and it's going to make Norway a great, perfect place because we'll all have electric cars. No, it really isn't going to change much of anything, which they're finding out. It's even making their egalitarian society less egalitarian. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.